All right, well, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thank you very much for coming. I'm Ray Boris, head of the Duck Club. I want to thank you for coming out. We do meet the second Tuesday of every month. Next month, again, the second Tuesday, about 9 o'clock here. Don't quite know who the speaker will be yet. If you've got any suggestions or ideas, please do let us know. But today, we're very pleased and honored to have Brandon Hobbs, who's the range manager over at Master of Ben Avery Shooting Facility to talk to us about the facility and what they have to offer. So please welcome Brandon Hobbs.
All right. Hello, everyone. As you said, my name is Brandon. I work at the Ben Avery Shooting Facility. I've been there for about 4 years now, and I've been in my current position for about the last 2.5 to 3 years. My specific position at Ben Avery is the user group liaison, and we'll get into a little bit of what that is a little bit later on. But just to start out, Ben Avery Shooting Facility. All right. So, Ben Avery Shooting Facility is one of the largest public shooting ranges in the world, with a total of 1,650 acres of shooting. Our goal is to provide safe and enjoyable shooting out environments for everyone utilizing the facility. In order to accomplish this, we have a staff consisting of 17 trained range safety officers, as well as numerous volunteer RSOs who work with the range at any given time. Now, if any of you are interested in becoming a volunteer, we'll get into what it takes to do that in a little bit. However, I do have a sheet with me. If you guys are interested in that, feel free to sign up, put your name, email address, that kind of thing, and we'll have our volunteer coordinator reach out to you guys to sign up for that. So our current hours of operation, Monday we are closed to the public. That's the day that we do our maintenance, that kind of thing. Tuesday, Wednesday, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and then Sunday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. And for the quick show of hands, who here has been to Ben Avery before? That's what I like to see. Nice. So, Ben Avery Rifle Pistol Facility consists of 20 different ranges varying in distance from 15 yards going all the way out to 1,000 yards. So if you like to reach out to the long distances, we have that. If you just like to shoot pistol, have some fun, maybe shoot some steel targets, we have that for you as well. We also have 8 air-conditioned buildings where we do hold CCW classes as well as other, group functions, things like of that nature. Some of the disciplines that we have out at the range, we have cowboy mounted shooting. We have just classic cowboy shooting. We have 22 PRC. For those of you that don't know what that is, it's going to be long range 22 shooting. They reach out to 500, sometimes 600 yards with a 22. We also have steel rifle ranges, as well as, once again, the 1,000-yard. On the 1,000-yard, we shoot F-class, we shoot muzzle loaders, and 22 guys do also use that range from time to time. It's pretty fun to watch. All right. Ben Avery Clay Target Center is home to 17 trap skeet fields. We also have 13 of those that can be utilized as a skeet field. We have 4 sporting clays courses and 1 5-stand course. Now those sporting clays courses vary from beginners all the way up to you're getting ready for a world-class competition, depending on what you're looking to do. The quail course as well as the rattlesnake course are going to be some of the tougher ones. Those vary up, they change up on a monthly basis. So, as long as you're coming, once, twice a month, it's going to be something different just about every time you come out. Whereas the Roadrunner and Coyote course, those are going to be some of our more basic courses. Those are pretty much the same all year round. Those are geared more toward beginners. you're into archery, we also offer 5 walking courses as well as 4 other ranges varying from our known distance range, our world archery range, our broadhead range, as well as the family range. If you have kids, grandkids, somebody that you want to take out, have some fun on the range, and they like archery, that's a perfect one for them. Now those ranges vary in distance from anywhere to 15 to 50 yards. And then that world archery range goes out to, I believe it's 65 or 70 yards. All right, so this is probably pretty common knowledge for a lot of.
Do you have the equipment, the archery equipment?
So we don't provide any archery or the rifle pistol stuff. If you're looking to shoot at the Clay Target Center, we do have shotguns for rent. Those are gonna be $15. Unfortunately, we don't have the bow and arrows or rifles, pistols, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so as I was saying, main range, probably not gonna be new information for you guys, but for those of you who haven't been out there in a while, Tuesday through Friday is first come, first serve. There's no time block. That's gonna be $10 per person for however long you wanna shoot. You can show up first thing in the morning, right when we open, 7 a.m. and shoot all the way till 7 p.m. when we close, if you'd like. Basically, the way it operates, we gotta take a ceasefire every 15 minutes. During that ceasefire, the range masters will clear the line, make sure all the firearms are emptied, no ammunition is in or around the firearm. And once we've verified that every single firearm on the range is safe, we'll send you downrange to adjust your target. Saturday and Sundays, we do have a reservation system currently in place. Those are gonna be 90-minute time blocks at $7 per shooter. And those time blocks start out at 7, from 7 to 8:30, 9 to 10:30, 11 to 12:30, 1 to 2:30, 3 to 4:30, and then 5 to 6:30 when we close. Those reservations can be booked online. In those packets that I handed out, there is instructions on how to book a weekend reservation if you guys need that. On the main range, we do have a total of 67 tables on the main range, 37 of which go out to 100 yards, and 29 of which go out to 200 yards. Now there are closer distances. It starts out at 5, 10, 15, 25, 50, all the way out to however far you're gonna be going. We do allow rifles, pistols, and shotguns. However, if you're going to be shooting a shotgun on that main range, you do have to have either slugs or buckshot. Unfortunately, we do not allow birdshot on the main range, just because it destroys the target frames a little bit quicker. The spread doesn't work too well. Again, if you have children, grandchildren that want to come out with you, children 5 to 17 do shoot for free with a paying adult. And then reservations on the weekends do have to be made at least 24 hours in advance. If you wanted to reach out a little bit further, we do have the Frank DeSoma range available on the weekends, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Those ranges start at 200 meters and go all the way out to 500 meters, with steel targets varying in size from 2 inches all the way up to 24 inches, depending on your skill level. That's gonna be $12 per shooter for a 90-minute time block. Now that range is rifles only, and that one, we do request reservations. However, if there is space available, you are more than welcome to walk on to that range. And that one is available Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, providing we don't have a private group that has it rented out. If at any point you guys are interested in using that range and you wanted to make sure that it is available, you're more than welcome to check out the reservation page on the website or give us a call at the store and operations center. That number is going to be in the packets as well. If you're looking to get a little bit further distance, but you still want to be accurate, steel targets are fun, but if you're trying to sight in a rifle for a hunt, something like that, it's not the best thing to do. We do have the 300-yard range available. That goes from 100, 200, and 300 yards, and that is paper targets. That one is available Friday, Saturday, and Sundays during the hunting season. During the off season, it is only available Saturdays and Sundays. That's going to be $10 for an hour and 45-minute session. We give you that extra 15 minutes because 300 yards is a long way to walk. We want to make sure that you have plenty of shooting time as well as, time to get your targets out there. And then that one can be booked on BookBen as well. As for the Clay Target Center, we, like I said before, we have trap, skeet, sporting clays. We also have international skeet, bunker trap, doubles trap, and wobble trap. Wobble trap is kind of a Ben Avery specific discipline. That's not really something that's too popular. It's just a little bit crazier than typical skeet or trap, sorry. And we do sell ammunition over at the Clay Target Center. Unfortunately, we don't sell ammunition at the rifle pistol side. We did recently get a gentleman who sits out on the range. He rented a plot on the range where he sells ammo. So we do offer that, but we ourselves as Ben Avery do not offer that. And then as I was saying before, if you don't own a shotgun, we do have rentals available at the Clay Target Center for $50.
Did you talk about the card you can get?
Yeah, so basically when you go to the Clay Target Center, you can either get a rental card. When you pay, they give you a card. That card, you go to the stand, you swipe it, that has your credits on it. The credits count toward the clays. That's what gives you your targets. If you wanted to rent one, more than welcome to do so. It's I believe $2 to rent the card, and then we have to keep your ID as collateral till we get that back. If you wanted to buy a permanent one, so that you can just come out whenever you want, completely circumvent the store if you'd like, that's $100, and that's $100 that goes directly onto that card. And at that point, that card belongs to you. You no longer need it back at the end of your session, and you don't have to drop off your ID. That's the collateral. Yes.
Instructional.
So we do at the rifle pistol side. Currently, there is nothing available at the Clay Target side, unfortunately. All right. 3D archery. So 3D archery is a really fun program we started not too long ago. We have what we call the 3D archery or indoor air gun building. That is a roughly 30,000 square foot building, basically a warehouse where we have 3D archery targets we'll set up for you. Arrows start flying at 6:30. Basically the way it works, you come in, you get with a group of no more than 4 people, and you can score it if you choose to. It's mostly designed just to have some fun. A lot of people like to use it to prepare for hunting season because we do use those 3D archery targets. However, it's designed mostly for just going out and having some fun. With that 3D archery program, we have 2 sets of targets. We have the red targets and the black targets. Red targets are going to be for basic shooters, people just getting into it. Whereas those black targets are going to be for somebody who's a little more advanced, knows a little bit more what they're doing. Yes?
You don't rent equipment for this either.
Unfortunately not.
The $15, is that for an hour or?
So that's just for however long it takes. It really depends on how many people come out. It's going to be a total of 40 shots regardless because you run through it twice. And there's 20 targets. But yeah, it just depends on how many people are out there. It could last an hour, it could last 2.5 hours, it could last, I think the longest one we've ever had was about 3 hours and 45 minutes. That was a big group though. Yes.
Is it a trail you walk through?
No, so it's all indoors. So the way that it works, if you look in the picture here, I just see it, this one here. So you'll line up. In front of the people are going to be cones with a specific number. So when you get to that cone, you're gonna find the animal with the correlating number. So let's say this was number 14. This target here is number 14. So you're going to be shooting at 14. Once you take your first shot, next person comes up, they'll take their shot. If you're happy with your shot, then you can choose not to take another one. If you want to, not too happy with where you hit, you're welcome to take a second shot, and then you just score out of the best.
So only 4 people out in the building at a time?
No, so we had groups of upwards of 50 to 60. We've had groups of, I think 6 was our smallest. It just depends on how many people actually book a reservation. Yes.
Is Thursday night, when I just open that, or?
We are looking at potentially stretching it out to Saturdays. We've tested it a couple times. It wasn't too popular on Saturdays. We're not sure if that was just lack of advertising on our part, or people are just used to it being on Thursdays. But currently, it's only Thursdays. Thursday night. Yes.
So is there a ranger? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But how many arrows do you start out with, and what's the recovery?
So once you take your shot at your number, so like I was saying, this guy here, he's number 14. So he'll take his shot. Everybody else in his group will take their shot. Once everybody's taken their shot, then we go to C-Spire. You'll go down range, retrieve your targets, and then come back and switch to the next number. All right. Yes.
Is that building on your property?
Yes, it is. All right. So if you or anyone that you know are interested in any of our classes, we do offer 2 basic firearm classes currently. We have the Wild Bunch class, which is going to be for anyone of ages 9 or older. That one's more geared toward families. Somebody wants to bring their child out, or somebody who's never fired a firearm before. They want to bring them out to get used to the firearms. That's what that class is going to be for. And then we have the Annie Oakley. Annie Oakley is going to be a women's class only, and it's taught by primarily women. And that allows anyone over the age of 16. Now, both of those classes are going to be a 2-hour class. You have an hour of classroom time as well as an hour of range time. All the firearms and ammunition are provided by Ben Avery, as well as hearing and eye protection. The classroom portion of that will go over just kind of basic storage, manipulation of firearms. The Wild Bunch class specifically goes over what to do if you find a firearm. Again, that one's geared more toward the children. It's just kind of a bare bones basic course. It's nothing too crazy, and nothing, none of the cool stuff. Yes.
Is it handguns, rifles? What is it?
Both.
It's both. Do you get a choice of what you want to learn?
So you get both. So we have quite a few Ruger Mark IVs, as well as a couple revolvers that we'll show you the pistols on. And then we have some old Ruger single shot bolt actions that will teach you the rifle on. We have scopes, peep sights, as well as just standard iron sights. You get a variety of everything.
Could we as a group organize a class for that?
Yeah. So Dave Williams, he is the one that's in charge of those classes. I can get you guys his contact information if that's something that you're interested in. We could do set up a private class for everybody who's interested with the club.
How long is a class?
2 hours.
2 hours.
Roughly, yeah.
Okay. And is there shotgun classes as well?
Unfortunately, not at this time.
Is there a certain day or time you're doing, or you gotta call and?
So typically they are Wednesday nights. And then the first Saturday of every month, we also have one of those classes.
Brandon,
Yes.
so many of you may know I've been teaching in that program for 4 years. If the group is large enough, we will schedule a time that's convenient for the group. We've done this with businesses that have brought their employees out for relationship building and things like that. So if the group is large enough, you don't have to conflict with the current schedule for the public on every other Wednesday or first Saturdays.
What's the minimum size for that?
It's really not so much minimum as it is a maximum, so we're really set up for no more than 15. To make it worthwhile, we'd like to have at least, 5 or 6 to hold the class.
Great.
Dave will have those details.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, I mean, if we could get even half of the who's here to show interest in that, that's definitely something that we could do. Yes.
What type of training do you offer where you can bring your own weapon?
So we just started a new program. We don't even have a name for it yet. However, they tell you about it in the class. If you are looking for some more one-on-one experience with your own personal firearm, we offer a secondary class where you can schedule a range time with one of our volunteers, and they will sit down with you and go over a little bit more in depth with your particular firearm. That is a new flagship program that we just started. We've only had 2 people actually sign up for it so far. But we're hoping that it gains some more traction. We get a lot more people signing up for that.
Can you make a reservation online?
So you wouldn't do that one online. When you go to the class, you'll get Dave's contact information, and I believe I put that in the packets as well. And you would schedule that directly with him. Yeah.
So how much would something like that be and how long does it last?
So that is actually free with your sign up for the Annie Oakley or the Wild Bunch class.
Okay.
So it's a continuation of those already established classes.
Thank you.
This optics class, is that, you bring your own equipment you provided, or?
So no, so this one here, it's the rifle optic and sighting class. So it's $25 per person. You would register that for that, the same place that you would book a lane on the range. It's going to be kind of again, a bare bones basic class on rifle optics. So you wouldn't bring your own equipment. You would work with this provided equipment. It's going to go over terminology, first and second focal plane, how to select an optic, what are the pieces and parts of an optic, proper use of adjustments, how to properly mount an optic, as well as how to correctly perform a zero. We are working on putting together a part 2 to this class as well, where we will, take you out with your own personal equipment and show you how to work with your personal equipment. But this one is more geared toward somebody who's looking to buy an optic and they're not sure what they need to get for what they're looking to do.
So it's like all classroom work, there's no shooting involved.
Correct. Yeah.
Now, as I understand, you can sight in your rifle without firing, right? For a certain range. Let's say you want to sight it in 150 yards.
So I believe what you're looking at, or what you're referring to, is called a bore sight.
Mhm.
So a bore sight is going to be like the beginnings of a sighting process. So a bore sight is typically done at 25 yards. And that's going to be getting your scope so that you can at least hit paper. That's not going to be for the actual sight in. That's just to get you on paper so that you can dial in your scope from there. At 150 yards, I'd give you a pat on the back and a firm handshake if you were able to bore sight your rifle at 150 right now. All right, so volunteering. If anyone is interested in becoming a volunteer, some of the perks of becoming a volunteer, you get to see this lovely face every day. If you volunteer for at least 8 hours a month, you do get free shooting for that month. And we do have quite a few different volunteer opportunities. We have range safety officers, which is probably the most common. We have a volunteer or several volunteers for that 3D archery program, as well as class instructors and camp hosts. Now, whatever you're interested in, again, that would be Dave Williams that is in charge of the volunteer program. He can, if you're looking to do something, he can find something for you to do. We have anything from walking the line to taking out the trash, to landscaping, whatever you're looking to do, we have something for you.
So you can come out and catch rattlesnakes.
Well, that's my job. I'm taking my snakes. And again, right over here, guys, on the way out, if you are interested in becoming a volunteer or getting a little bit more information about becoming a volunteer, I did bring this in with me. Go ahead and throw your name as well as how to contact you, email, phone number, whatever you feel like. And I will give this to Dave when I get back to the office, and he will reach out to you guys, give you a little bit more information. I'll leave that right there on the table for you guys. All right. Now here's my bread and butter. This is what I do every day. This is my specific job, user groups. So user groups are companies or organizations that utilize Ben Avery Shooting Facility for training or competitive purposes. In order to become a user group, all you need to do is provide a completed user group agreement, as well as an insurance policy that meets Arizona Game and Fish standards to the user group liaison, which is me. At the time of writing this, I currently have 327 active user groups registered at Ben Avery. So we have user groups starting out, you know, basic pistol, advanced pistol. We've got some of those running gunners. We've got competitive groups. We've got people that just don't want to shoot on the main range, so they decide to pay $1,000 a year to get their insurance so they can shoot alone. You know, we have a little bit of everything, whatever you guys are interested in. And then I included just a couple of our user groups on there. I wish I could add more. I just kind of ran out of space. And if at any time you are interested in meeting up with any of those user groups, looking to do some training, swing by the range. We do have a list of user group training courses in the store. You know, how to contact them, what kind of courses they provide, if that's something that piques your interest.
Could you go over some of that, maybe the most popular ones?
So some of the most popular ones, we have ER Tactical, Emergency Response Tactical. He's going to be a bit on the pricey side, but great classes, very fun, very educational. He does anything from CCW to basic pistol manipulation to active shooter drills to, you know, I've seen him do classes where he does 2 laps around the 1,000-yard range and then drops down and takes a shot at 1,000 yards just to get his heart rate up. It's something for everyone. We have Cactus Combat Match League, which is going to be one of our largest user groups. They come out every Thursday night. They do national and international steel challenge matches. Their group pulls in roughly 100 to 200 people every single Thursday night. We've got the Desert Sharpshooters Rifle Club. We'll go over them in a little bit. I have them on our events page as well. And then Independence Training. Independence Training is, again, one of those, you know, jack of all trades. He does everything from basic pistol manipulation to, I've seen him jump out of a car, do a barrel roll, and gauge the target at 25 yards. It's not allowed, but I've seen him do it. So just a little bit of fun information for you guys. Arizona Game and Fish is primarily funded by the sale of hunting, fishing licenses and tags, as well as federal excise taxes on firearms and ammunition. We at the Arizona Game and Fish Department do not get any funding from state income tax or sales tax, except for the sales tax specifically on firearms and ammunition and other camping gear. But if you go to the store and, you know, buy a carton of eggs, we're not getting any of that sales tax. Specifically at the range, we get funding from something called the Pittman-Robertson Wildlife Restoration Act, which was established in 1937. Basically what that is, in layman terms, is any money that is spent on outdoors or wildlife activities. So anything from binoculars to spotting scopes to hiking backpacks to firearms, ammunition, we get a portion of the taxes from that. That is probably one of our biggest funding sources. And to those of you who have bought a firearm or ammunition recently, thank you. As well as money generated through the sale of range time, advertising, targets, and merchandise sold in the store and operations center.
Talking about licenses, I recently found out that if you're have been living in Arizona X number of years and over a certain age, you get this pioneer license.
Mhm.
Where it's lifetime hunting, fishing.
Yep.
No charge.
Yep. Yeah, that's a newer program, I believe. I'm not too familiar with the tags and licensing side of things. Unfortunately, I'm primarily stuck at the range. But it's a lot of fun. Who here goes hunting? Keep going? Aw, come on now. A little bit.
I got that free hunting, fishing, pioneer license.
All right. Ben Avery Shooting Facility hosts several national and international competitions and shooting events. These events are in part responsible for the 120,000 plus guests that we have on property annually. Just a few of these events. These are all going to be some of our bigger events. We have the CMP Western Games, which is currently going on at the range. They're here from October 7th to the 13th. Now that, for those of you that aren't familiar with CMP, that is the Civilian Marksmanship Program. Primarily what they do is a lot of older, World War II, some Vietnam era firearms. This one in particular is the Western game, so it's going to be some cowboy action stuff, single action army revolvers, lever guns, shotguns, that kind of thing. AZ Wins January 26th to February 6th. AZ Wins is one of the world's largest muzzleloader competitions. Now, every single firearm that is shot during that event is going to be a muzzleloader. And then they also do some axe and knife throwing, which I find very interesting. We have Southwest Nationals, February 12th through the 16th. Southwest Nationals is an international competition. This year, we have people coming in from 10 different countries to compete in that event. Now, Southwest Nationals is one of those competitions that they open up registration for that, and within 30 minutes, they're completely booked out. They're completely sold out. And they allow upward of 230 competitors at their matches. So if you're looking to get into something like that, the long range stuff, better be quick. End of Trails, which is February 24th to March 2nd, is one of the world's largest cowboy action events. We have two different organizations that have come together. That's going to be the SAS organization and the ACSA, Arizona Cowboy Action Shooters Association. They come together and they hold a massive event. Pretty much half of the facility is completely booked out by them. They put together an entire fake town, looks like you're back in the Old West with all kinds of vendor booths, with everything from firearm holsters to firearms themselves. They welcome guests. It is completely free to come and watch, as well as Southwest Nationals, AZ Wins, and CMP. And they are more than happy to have you guys come out and show your support for them. Now, with End of Trails, typically it gets a little bit rainy during that time of year. For some reason, we're not sure what it is, but they bring the weather with them. So if you do decide to come to that one, make sure you dress for the occasion. I recommend some boots of some kind and long sleeves. And then Game and Fish Expo, March 29th through the 30th. Now, the Game and Fish Expo is held by Game and Fish. It is basically a display of everything that Game and Fish has to offer. We have everything from OHV to fishing, to shooting sports, to hunting. If Game and Fish is involved with it, it's gonna be there. We have several displays with different firearm manufacturers. If you're interested in coming out just to try out some firearms, see what you might be interested in, they have that. They also have a section where they teach you how to fly fish or just fish in general, as well as some wildlife exhibits, just to kind of see and get used to the wildlife that we have here in Arizona. Recoil Magazine's CanCon. So CanCon is a newer event. They are a fully suppressed range day. It's going to be a 3-day event. Every single firearm shot at CanCon is suppressed. It's mostly to get the information about suppressors out to the people. Not a lot of people in Arizona are familiar with suppressors, and we really would like to get that information out to the public. There are some states that actually require you to have a suppressor in order to hunt. I don't think that we want to go that far. However, those suppressors really do help out a lot, especially when it comes to, hearing damage, some of the concussive force of the gunshots. And then East Valley Tactical is pretty much, it's fairly similar to CanCon, but on a slightly smaller scale. That's going to be a local company, East Valley Tactical. They're a gun store in, I believe, Scottsdale. And it's basically an event for them to bring out some of the suppressors that they sell so that you can test them out, see if you like it before you buy it, kind of thing. Yes.
So in the past, you had an event, Sig Sauer had like a whole day there.
Mhm.
Do you have any of those planned for manufacturing?
So we are in the process of making a contract with SIG so that they'll come out again. Those big organizations, unfortunately, it can be a little bit rough on the lawyer side to get some kind of an agreement together. So as of now, we don't have anything planned, but we are really hoping to get some of those guys out here again. And then the last slide that I have for you guys, just some fun facts, some basic information that a lot of people aren't aware of. So Ben Avery has developed to provide a safe shooting area in Phoenix, but due to its distance from downtown Phoenix at the time, many thought it was destined to fail. There were a lot of people when it was being constructed who just decided, what's the point in building it? Nobody's gonna go out there. It's way too far away from anybody or anything. Nobody's gonna drive that far. It was named after Ben Avery, who was a local outdoor activist who helped finance the early construction. Cost to build the original range in 1957, when construction started, was $8,000. $5,000 of that was a personal loan from Ben Avery himself. The other $3,000 was funded through donations, as well as some other organizations who thought it would be pretty nice to have a range out here in Arizona. Facility was completed and operations transferred to Maricopa County in 1960. At that time, it was called the Black Canyon Shooting Range. And Arizona Game and Fish has owned and operated Ben Avery Shooting Facility since 1995. Now, originally, it was only the rifle pistol side. We took over operation of the Clay Target Center in 2006. Before that, it was still under construction. It was there, but it wasn't what it is today until 2006 when Game and Fish took it over. And that's everything that I have for you guys. I'm going to go ahead and open it up. Anybody got any questions?
Do you guys have any control over the unstaffed ranges along 74?
So unfortunately not. Those
Could you repeat the questions?
Oh, yeah. So, question was, do we have any control over the other ranges that are set up along 74? So I believe the ones you're talking about are the Saddleback range as well as Church Camp.
Right.
Those are BLM owned and operated. Game and Fish unfortunately does not have any control over those particular ranges. And as far as I'm aware, BLM, so they've got some interesting plans for those ranges, to say the least. I can't really go into that too much, but no, to answer the question, no. Yes.
They have a function at Ben Avery, I believe it's the 18th and 19th, where you have vendors coming out.
Mm-hmm.
We care to talk about that?
So 18th and 19th
of
of
October, Saturday and Sunday, I believe.
Yes. So 18th and 19th, I believe that one is. I've got so many floating around in my head right now.
Yeah, it's firearms. I was wondering if they're selling ammo
Yes,
there.
the gun show.
Yeah.
So the question is, we have a function coming out to the range on the 18th and 19th of this month. We have a gun show that's going to be coming out. They're going to be in the indoor air gun building, so the same place that 3D archery class would be held. So they have everything from firearms, ammunition, all the way up to camping, hiking gear, some knives, flashlights. It's typical gun show. It's nowhere near the size of Crossroads of the West. However, it is a decent gun show.
Selling 12 shots.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Just a comment, you're talking about suppressors, just be advised, you can't just go out and buy a suppressor, there's a process involved.
Yes. So the process that he's referring to is I believe suppressor is a Form 1. But basically what you have to do, you have to fill out this big old document that gives basically gives the government control over your firstborn. And they do an even more in-depth background check than just a traditional, the background check that you would go through for a firearm. And you pay a $200 tax stamp that gives you permission to own a suppressor. And you would have to do that for every single suppressor that you look to buy.
Has to be registered and.
Is there a Ben Avery newsletter?
So there is not a Ben Avery newsletter. There is, however, a Game and Fish newsletter. And you can sign up to receive that through the the Game and Fish website, which is just azgfd.com. Now, every now and then they do sprinkle some information about Ben Avery in there, but no, we do not have one specifically for Ben Avery.
Would it have the events you've talked about in there?
Yes, some of the larger ones. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Regarding the list of user groups that you have, is that list on your website and description of each group?
So it is not on the website. That is actually an interesting idea, though. I think that I'll talk to IT when I get back to the office and see if that's something we might be able to do. Currently, we only have it in person in the store. And basically what that list is, it's just going to be the name of the organization that does the training, how to contact them, and then a brief description of what kind of classes they hold.
Yeah.
What's the insurance for a user group?
So for a user group, it has to be an occur policy. It has to be.
Now, so you get this through Ben Avery, or where do you get the insurance?
And there's a lot of different companies, unfortunately, due to, what's the word I'm looking for?
Liability?
No, not really liability, like conflict of interest kind of thing. I can't really recommend a company. However, there are quite a few companies that provide firearm training insurance. But it has to be an occur policy. It has to be 1 million per instance, 2 million for the general aggregate. And then we have a specific paragraph that has to be included on that insurance. It's a hold harmless clause, saying that if something happens as a result of the user group's negligence, Ben Avery and Arizona Game and Fish, as well as the state of Arizona can't be held liable.
What's the cost of something?
From the ones that I've seen in the past, roughly $380 for the year.
I'm going to talk about suppressors for a second.
Mhm.
I think they're really, if you shoot a lot, they are fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
They really protect not only your hearing, but the people shooting near you. They were unfortunately included in the National Firearms Act of 1934 for really obscure reasons. But there is a bill that's been reintroduced, the first time it never went anywhere, called the Hearing Protection Act, that would make a suppressor, buying a suppressor the same price. A very suppressor that you wouldn't have to pay tax here. So we get it right away. If you buy one now, it used to be that you could only do this with a mail-in form. Now you can do it electronically. With a mail-in form, when I bought my first two, both of them took over a year to get. The wait times electronically filing now are in days and weeks. You still have to pay $200, but they're well worth it, especially if you already have hearing damage like I do. So.
Well, yeah, and I mean,
Write your congressman and tell them back to hearing protection.
and there's even people talking about getting it back within hours.
Yeah.
It's
amazing, the revolution.
yeah, it really
The
has.
way they change things.
Yes.
Crap and heat shooting. Like if this group wanted to do that.
Say that one more time.
Trap and ski league.
So there are quite a few different leagues. So I can get you the phone number for the Clay Target Center. Unfortunately, I'm not too well versed on the Clay Target side of things. I work primarily over at the rifle pistol side. But that I could get you the phone number for somebody that would have a lot more information on that if that's something you're interested in. Yes.
Are there any plans for any future growth or facilities?
Oh, yes. So about a year and a half ago, we had a big meeting with the Game and Fish Commission called the, brain fart. What was it called again? Basically, it's the plans for development of the facility. So over the next 5 years or so, we are going to be including a couple more buildings, as well as we're looking to potentially build another range. We are even looking at trying to reach out to some of those firearm organizations to see if they would be willing to sponsor a indoor range on property. The main entrance is going to be changed from where it currently is to the high power entrance. They are, for those of you that aren't aware, a project has already been approved to build a road going all the way from 35th and I believe that's Pinnacle Peak all the way through to Carefree Highway. So once that is complete, that is going to become the new entrance because they're going to be putting a stoplight there. It makes traffic a little bit easier getting in and out of the facility. As for the ranges that we currently have, we are going to be bringing those up to ADA standards. We're, this isn't anytime soon, but we are looking at potentially paving all of the parking lots, so all of the dirt lots that we currently have are going to be paved eventually, as well as sidewalks leading to all the ranges. We also have a signage project that is currently in progress. We're going to be getting new signage throughout the facility because unfortunately the signage on property is not great. It can be a little bit hard to navigate the ranges. Yes.
Could you comment on restrictions relating to targets that people can bring on the range?
So targets, really our only thing when it comes to targets is no humanoid features. So we've had in the past people bring out pictures of, you know, their neighbor that they didn't like, all of it, you know, ex-wife, all kinds of different things. We don't allow anything like that. If it has any kind of humanoid features, we do not allow it. Now, silhouettes are fine, but if it's, you know, one of those new fancy silhouettes that they have where, you know, it's got a guy holding a gun and when you shoot it, it starts bleeding. And we try to keep everything family friendly.
Yeah, could you just talk about any experiences you've had with groups or situations that might be interesting, unusual?
Oh, boy. So we always get some really, really interesting folks out at the range. Now, what kind of situations are we
Anything,
looking for?
whatever you-
Anything?
yeah.
So probably the first one that comes to mind, we had a group of gentlemen come out to the range. This was about 2 years ago. And we had just gone to ceasefire. We finished clearing the line, sent everybody down range to adjust their targets. And this group went down range, they adjusted their target, immediately came back. As soon as they got back from adjusting their targets, went right up to the table, grabbed their gun, slammed a magazine in, racked around. Me and another employee, what are you doing? What are you doing? Running down the line, you know, me running. Don't want to see that. Running down the line, took the gun away from him. He goes, what? I didn't see anybody down range. Well, there's a guy standing right behind your target. There's a guy right over there. There's another one at 200. Just because you don't see them does not mean that they're not there. That's the reason we do things the way that we do. If you do show up, that's the one thing that I cannot emphasize more. Make sure you are listening to the range commands. We give very precise commands. We tell you exactly what to do when we want you to do it. We're not trying to be mean. We're not trying to, you know, get under your skin. We're trying to make sure that everybody stays safe. We will give you commands when it's safe to start firing. We will give you commands when we need you to cease fire. Just make sure that you're paying attention to those commands and doing exactly what we ask you to do. Another one, this was shortly after I started working there, so, you know, quite a few years ago. One of our rules, and it's a pretty controversial rule to some people, we do not allow straws on the range. Now the reason for that is lead dust in the air settles on the straw, you go to drink from the straw, and now you're ingesting all of that lead. Now, what a lot of people don't realize, your lungs are designed to filter out lead. Your digestive system is not. You can breathe it in, it's not good for you, but it's not gonna be terrible. But if you're digesting that, it goes directly to the blood system. That's when you start getting lead poisoning. We had a gentleman, we asked him, you know, politely, hey, you mind just taking the straw out of your drink? You know, what we'll typically do, take your straw out, put a piece of tape over the hole. And then if you want to get a drink, just take the lid off, get your drink, put your lid back on. That way nothing gets into your drink that you don't want to get into your drink. We asked this gentleman to do exactly that. And he was not a fan of that. He used some very colorful language, did not remove the straw, ended up throwing his drink at one of the range masters. He was asked to leave. Let's see.
Well, speaking of that,
Yes.
have you had many injuries?
Injuries, no. Very well. We've had quite a few minor injuries, but you know that's just kind of to be expected, especially being outdoors. You know, most of our medical emergencies are heat-related illnesses. Somebody goes down to the 200, and just when they get back, they don't feel well. I'd say the scariest incident that we've had was a gentleman who was in the military. He had a brain injury while he was in the military and suffered from seizures. He was shooting at the range one day, had a seizure while he was shooting. collapsed backwards on the cement, gun still in hand. It could have been a very bad situation. Thankfully, the guy next to him was a paramedic, knew exactly what to do, ran over immediately, took the gun out of the guy's hands before he started, pulling the trigger, and was able to get him taken care of very quickly. Other than that, bumps, bruises, scrapes. We've had scope bite, slide bite. For those of you that don't know what slide bite is, if you have a semi-automatic pistol and you're not holding that pistol correctly, typically what it is you'll have your thumb wrapped around the back of the gun. That slide reciprocates. So every time you fire it, that slide comes back. And if you have your thumb in the wrong position, that slide will come back and just take a chunk out of your thumb. So if we're walking the line and we see somebody holding the gun improperly, we'll typically run over, hey guys, before you shoot, might want to adjust your grip, do this instead, just to prevent that from happening. But unfortunately, we're not able to catch every single situation like that.
Will range masters assist someone who's not familiar with their gun?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, if you ever need any help with your firearm, feel free to reach out to one of the range masters. We are more than happy to help you out. Everybody out there has quite a bit of experience with firearms. And if we don't know what to do, I guarantee one of the other range masters will, and we'll trade off.
Great.
Yeah, never, ever feel ashamed or embarrassed to ask for help when that's exactly what we're there for.
Great. All right, let's thank Brandon for a nice presentation.